Hey, and welcome to the Conscious Coach Show. I'm Scott Weddell. I'm a part of a new breed of service providers you've probably never heard of before. We don't allow our current capabilities or credentials limit our vision and actions. We take responsibility. We face our own demons, and we're the example of what we teach. We deeply care, and we've dedicated our lives to helping other people, but we're not scared to ask for help ourselves. We're not selfish, and we're on a mission to share our message, knowledge, skills, and experience to as many people as possible, so we create a ripple effect in the world. We're well aware that we're human, and we've got to fight against our own limitations, fears, resistance, and also the opinions of other people who don't resonate with us. We do things differently. We focus on our own journey. We shift our own paradigm. We improve 1% every day. We choose to lead by example. We can't turn our passion off. So how do we do that? If you take a long, hard look around, you'll see the market is full of coaches talking about other coaches. We're different. We focus on working through our own insecurities and dropping our own egotistical selves so we can truly lead by example. We're conscious coaches, but we're much, much more than that. We're paradigm shifters, we're healers, we're motivators, we're light workers, we're communicators, we're creators, we're leaders, we're teachers, we're educators. We're just like you. Normal people who've chosen to be different, who've chosen to step up, stand out, and be different. Normal people who've chosen more than normal. And we're entrepreneurs at heart. We may be conscious coaches, but changing the world is what we do. So, welcome to episode 3, guys, of the Conscious Coach Show. And today we've got my friend Peter Szabo. Is that how you say it, buddy?
Szabo.
Szabo, that's it. Oh, man, I met Peter at a mastermind in January 2016 in Austria, in the Austrian mountains, and the young guy just inspired me. I think you were like 17 at the time, right?
Yep.
17 at the time, man. And like ever since I've met him then, his business and his life has just exploded, and it's really, really, really inspiring. And one of the things that I really love about Peter is he believes in mindset and he believes in working on himself. And I believe that a lot of his growth is to do with that. So I want to open people's minds to that as well. So Peter helps people with Facebook ads, and like I'm talking, he's got real high-end clients, and he gets his clients really, really good results. So this guy's brain is going to be amazing to pick for you, and he's going to give you amazing value. But Peter, what I would like to do is just hand it over to you and just give the viewers a brief explanation of what you're doing right now and what kind of people you help.
Gotcha. Well, first of all, it's great to be here. And essentially what I do is just like help small businesses and deliver them, guaranteed ROI on Facebook ads. Now, of course, because of that promise, we can only take in a specific, type of clients. But, well, let me put it this way. I've been doing this for like 8 years now, and I never really intended to be like a Facebook ad expert.
Yeah.
Back when I started at 11, and it all started because my parents made an investment. We took on multiple loans, we dried up all our saving accounts, and we kind of went broke. Now, I don't really care what standard you're at, but if you drop below it, you're not going to feel good. It felt very uncomfortable, pissed off, angry, and I didn't like life. I couldn't afford a $50 pair of sneakers, no vacations. I remember one day I was sitting in class with like 30 of my classmates, and we were going around like, okay, what kind of car does your family own? And everybody said a type of car. I was the only kid whose parents didn't have a car, and that's how broke we were. And luckily one day at 11, I saw this movie, The Secret, and at that time it completely opened my eyes and gave me this courage to go into Google and type in how to make money online. And with that courage, I got started and I started making like 3-4 cents a day. It literally took me like 3-4 months to make my first dollar. And I remember around the time I was struggling, I was working way too hard for way too little. Parents, teachers, grandparents, class, you name it, everybody was telling me I'm stupid, this is not working, this is never going to work, this dream is not going to fulfill. I remember people are literally telling me like, dude, you're working for the type of money I would not even bend over to pick up from the streets.
Yeah.
I felt humiliated, like it's just like so bad. But eventually, I tried different things, and it worked out to the degree now that I'm extremely grateful that I had the privilege to help literally hundreds of clients that, all were high ticket clients, successful business that had $1 million a year income.
Yeah.
And it just got into a bunch of PR, met some amazing people. So at the end of the day, it was all worth it.
Yeah, man. Like, I love that. And what I love about what you just said there was your changing moment was what the secret book. That was the same as me.
Nice. Didn't know that.
Man, I'm not joking. That was the exact same as me. Like, obviously, you were a lot younger than I was. Like, I was about 20, 21 when that happened. And you were like, you got there young, mate. And take my hat off to you, man. You've done such amazing work in this world, mate. I take my hat off to you.
Thank you.
And for opening your eyes to that, like, seriously. But when you first read it, like, did you ever have thoughts like, oh, that's a lot of bullshit, or that's not true, or did your ego come in to start with, or did you just what made you feel the pull to go and look for there must be something different there? I've read this book, I'm not sure if I know if it's right, like, but what made you go and search on Google for how to make money online?
Right. So to be more specific, I saw the movie. That's how I started. And, I come from a place called Slovakia. People make on average $500 a month. It's a post-communist country. So everybody pretty much has the mindset like life's bad. Everybody, like literally you walk down the street, everybody's complaining. So when I saw the movie, the biggest thing was it gave me hope. Like I was pretty much doomed here in Slovakia with the mentality, with the environment, with my peer group.
Yeah.
My parents, for example, read so many self-help books, which I'm pretty proud about, but they never really implemented because the environment was so bad.
Yeah.
So for me, the biggest thing, it was just like gave me hope that there's a possibility. And I think at 11 I was quite naive, but I'm so grateful that I was naive because it made me believe this idea that you can do have anything you choose to, and that belief gave me the courage to begin.
Yeah, man, love it. I love it. I love it. Honestly, such good feedback for people listening. And if you've not read that book, The Secret, go and read it because it will change your life.
It's a good starting point.
Read with an open mind, guys. So, let's just, if you were to give free lessons, like if you think about your whole lifespan at the moment, which is not a long time on this earth, and you've had a lot of experience, mate, like a lot. So what I would say is, like, can you give the viewers like free lessons? What's your biggest free lessons you've had in life that you could pass on to the listeners?
That's a good question. There's a lot, there's so many things, but one huge lesson is just like environment. You are the average of the five people closest to you. So whenever I recommend people, if they want to get fast change, just like surround themselves with people at a higher level. If I look at my life and I try to find like, okay, what's the breakthrough point? What's the point where my mindset and mentality completely shifted and I was able to go from A to B like this quick? And I remember the first one was when I went to America. I went there and I just saw the standards people had. Like even regular people, they were making a few $1,000s a month. If you make a few thousand a month in my country, you're extremely wealthy. If you own an iPhone, you're extremely wealthy. So by just me going out there, completely transformed what I called standards and what I called normal. And even when I went to that specific mastermind, which I paid $10,000 to be there, and back then it was literally all my money. And I was sitting next to millionaires, like literally guy on my right making 10 million a year, guy on my left making a couple million a year. It made me see that these people are normal. Like there's nothing special about them. They're not unique. They were not born with this privilege. It made me see that they're just like me. They may just be doing a couple different habits, or they may think slightly differently. So it really made me believe that, well, if they could do it, I can do it too.
Yeah, love it, man. Environment's everything. And I love how you just took a massive jump into the unknown, because I believe that the beauty of life is going in the pursuit of the unknown, and like that there shows that when you take big bold action and trust in your gut instinct, to take all your money and invest it in a mastermind to then allow that to shift all your perceptions, all your paradigms, all your beliefs overnight to allow you to go from A to B like that is probably the best decision you've ever made in your life. And for the viewers, it just shows that, like, it doesn't have to be going to a 10 grand mastermind, but just watch who you're hanging about with. Like, be around people that are thinking bigger than you, be around people that are doing more than you, be around people that are thinking on a different level, because when you're in that environment, you literally change because you are the five people you hang around. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. And I would say the biggest thing is like proximity, like being there in person. You know, Tony Robbins talks about this, proximity is power. That's when I think real breakthrough happens. Because I mean, books, courses, videos is good. You know, it's definitely better than nothing. And it's really good enough itself. But if you can be there in person, that's when stuff changes. And to elaborate on the 10,000 mastermind, like, I think I was like, I think either 16, 17, something like that. And to be more specific about the price, so I hired this mentor for $5,000 a month, right? I paid him like 2 months. And then he said he's got this mastermind in Dallas. It's $10,000, but you're invited for free because you already paid me 10 grand.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, well, I'll go. And, you know, he kind of explained in his own words that that's when really the change happens. That's how my change happened. He told me when he went in person. I'm like, I thought in my mind, like, I gotta be there. I gotta be there no matter what. And, you know, I bought my plane tickets and all that good stuff. And I also asked my parents, like, hey, can I go? And they're the type of people that want to put off things until we forget about it. Yeah. Right? So we kind of just let it in the air. And I remember a week before the event, I asked my mom, you know, can I go to America? And she starts crying. You know, she just like, I'm not going to let my only son, you know, go to the other side of the world at 16 or 17, whatever I was. And, you know, I understood, but I was like, listen, I made a commitment to myself, my mentor, and I got to be there no matter what. So, you know what, I'm going to bring you to, and I'm going to bring my dad to. Now, the thing was, like, last minute tickets to America from here to America were like $2,000 each. On top of that, hotels, different fees. I didn't have an extra $5,000 laying around.
Yeah.
But I was dead committed. Like, I was so committed that I'll find a way. So I started like a little bit freaking out, and I was like, you know, very committed to the end result. I didn't know what to do, but I was like hustling, working, trying to apply the law of attraction. Like, you name it, I've done it in that week period. And out of nowhere, this guy from Dubai shows up, right? He pays me $9,000, no objections. When I made, you know, said the price, he was like, oh, that's so cheap. I've never had that happen. So here's the kicker. He pays me the money. I afford the tickets. I fly to America, change my life completely. I come back and I reach out to this guy like, okay, let's get started. And he disappeared. It's now been over 1.5 years, 2 years, and I've never heard back from that guy ever.
Mate, that is like
crazy.
So crazy, man. But at the same time, it's not a coincidence. I love that, man. That is so cool. That is such a good story, mate. Such a good story. Like, that just proves that when you want something bad enough and you align to that, and you already, because what I'm taking from what you just said there, the feedback you're giving me is you were already there. Like, before you even went, you were there. You were already in America. In your mind, you were like, there's nothing but, like, we are going, and that's it. You were already there. So, like, that feedback tells us if you want something, like, be it now. Be it now. Like, and there's proof, guys, that this works if you just be it now. Because Peter didn't have the evidence outside of him to say, oh shit, I've not got the extra $5,000. I've been invited to the mastermind because I've already just given this guy 10 grand, but I've not got extra $5,000 to get there. Plus to take my parents. I'll make it happen. I'm already there. Boom, what happened? Something came into his path and it all worked out. So before we go into your Facebook ad side of things, there's one more question I just want to ask about to give the feedback, the viewers feedback is, how important, like in your eyes, how important is your mindset? Because I know we just had a little conversation before this, and you were saying you've got like 4 different coaches or something, like business, life coach, blah, 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 all different coaches.
Yeah.
You're big on this kind of stuff. So how important would you say mindset is, and working on yourself and your energy is? And if someone is still maybe procrastinating on it or not seeing it as important, what advice would you give that person?
So I believe it's 80%. It is 80% of your success. Tony Robbins says this too. It's 80% psychology, mindset, 20% strategies, tactics. And, I do believe that you gotta have tactics, like there's certain business things that you gotta have a funnel and add, lead generation machine to, for example, make it finances wise, or if you want to, you gotta have the right weight loss strategies. But if you think about it, so many people know how to do these things. They know what they should do, whether that's business, relationships, or losing weight. They know that they should work out more and eat less, or do the ketogenic diet or whatever. But so many people don't do it. They should all over themselves. That's a Tony Robbins phrase. And that's where it comes back to the mindset, the psychology, that's where the biggest change happens. Without the right mindset, without understanding these concepts and ideas, like a part of your identity physically, it's not worth anything. So many ideas have been given to me years back, and I had it in my head. It was intellectual. Like, I know what I should do, but I never actually did it. And even if I did it a little bit, I wasn't consistent enough to produce a result.
Yeah.
So I think mindset is definitely more important than the strategies. I would say it's roughly 80% of your results. And there's another story that it kind of ties into, and this was not long ago, maybe half a year, maybe a year back. I was in the French Alps, with Tim Matthews and these guys actually.
Yeah.
And so we hiked like 3 days in the French Alps. It was excruciatingly painful, like 5, 7, 8 hours a day, like good stuff. And then we went back to the mansion. We sit down and I start telling them that, listen, I want to speak on stage, but I don't feel good enough. I'm not a millionaire yet, and all these excuses. And, Tim and one of the coaches were like, is that the real issue? They kind of like start digging deep, and they found out that it wasn't that I'm not good enough. It was a deep issue revolving my dad, my father. And it turns out that I was trying to prove my worth to my father, to make him proud, to get his approval by making more money.
Yeah.
And my entire life, people have been telling me, if you drop out of high school, you're going to amount to nothing. And I did drop out of high school. And all these things like, this is not going to work, blah, 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 a lot of negative stuff. And I was like, really, as a kid, deep down, I was just trying to make him proud. That's it.
Yeah.
And I noticed that was driving all my actions. It was all subconscious. I had no idea of this, but each and every business action was driven by this childhood need of approval. So my intention was not really to serve the client or the world. It was just so I can make money to make my dad proud, and we all heard this idea that, you're in business to add more value. And if you add more value, you will succeed. And I understood it intellectually, but I never fully embodied it. I never fully acted on it because I was driven by this like low level need and desire. So essentially at that mastermind, they kind of like dig deeper. We figured this out, and I just started crying like a little baby, like hours and hours straight. And I knew that I had to talk to my dad, about this, because this was a big issue. I remember, because of me like wanting to drop out of high school and business stuff, like at one point things even got physical, like big fights, regarding this shit. And so I flew home, and it literally took me 2 days to grow, a pair of balls to sit down and talk to him, but I did. And I'm so proud I did, because, I cried once again for a solid hour. But after that session, I felt like just some boulder, like 10 million ton boulder was lifted off my being.
Yeah.
I felt so free, and I literally looked at life, and everything was brighter. Like life was just so much better. And the craziest thing was, like, not only I felt relieved and better about stuff, but literally the next month, my income quadrupled.
Yeah.
So I removed this mindset block, and my income grew, my relationships grew, everything grew exponentially just because I removed the mindset block. So that kind of shows you how important it is.
Yeah, awesome. So there's two stories, and I like to use the analogy of, like, every single person needs more table legs to hold their table up. Like, what you've done is you've just given the viewers 2 table legs there to prove the point that mindset is everything. Mindset is what drives your actions. Mindset is what takes people to where they go in life, whether it's not getting to where they want to be or getting to where they want to be. Either or, it's down to mindset.
And you know what? The final thing I'll say is the craziest thing that still blows my mind is when my income quadrupled in like 1 or 2 months. I think it was like 1 month. The craziest thing is that I didn't change anything in the business. The ads didn't change, the offer didn't change. My mindset changed, and for some reason,
Love it. Right, we've really touched on the subject of mindset there, which is really cool because I like to get that point across. But like, we want to give them some value, the viewers some value with regards to obviously your expertise, so it's funnels and Facebook ads. So let's just say there was a coach out there right now that's looking to start using Facebook ads, but not really sure where to start. They've not really got much of a funnel in place. They've not really got any of the plumbing in place or any of the basics in place. What sort of advice would you give that person? What would maybe be the first sort of 3 steps you would tell them to take to get their journey going and started on Facebook ads?
Right. So it's going to be interesting because the advice I have may be counterintuitive, and it may counteract what I just said a step before about mindset. It is definitely important, but also another mistake I see in this industry is a lot of coaches especially keep buying coaches and mentors all the time, which don't get me wrong. I have like 7 mentors, got 2 life coaches, 1 health coach, 1 business coach. But I noticed that many of my friends actually put 99% of their income into different coaches. And then I asked them, like, okay, what about marketing? What about generating new clients? Did you leave any marketing budget? And they're like, oh, shit, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, in the beginning, what I would say is get proof of concept. You know, whatever kind of business you are in, whatever coach you are, you want to get proof of concept, proof of success. You know, you talk to a specific client, you get them results, you get a case study, you get a result, right? Then you can use that proof of concept to get other clients, to get referrals, to start building your marketing machine of how you're going to get clients consistently. Because the biggest problem that I see with coaches is they rely so much on organic traffic. And I've got some great friends that have built pretty big businesses from organic traffic, got to 50, 70,000 a month. But that stuff is not forever. You know, like you grab the low-hanging fruit, it's going to be gone. And I have so many great friends who like went up to 25, 50 grand a month. And I was literally traveling with them for a while. And then he tells me, oh, listen, I actually only collected 25,000 profit out of the 50 grand. And, you know, we traveled for a while and stuff. I don't really have money to buy my plane ticket to fly back home to my country. I'm like, dude, you were making 50 grand a month. And you know, he even used that as a marketing message to attract new clients. Now, I'm not here to judge, but I'm saying we get often lost in this idea, or we often get lost in principles.
Yeah.
You know, I think that with any principle, you know, there's a sweet spot. There's a very thin line, and there's a very small portion that's going to work for you, or that sweet spot that's going to work for you. Because life is not black or white. You know, it's not so simple. And another thing, this was a huge breakthrough for me. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've heard of the concept that you gotta be the type of client that you want to attract.
Yeah, 100%.
And here's the funny thing. I think that there's certainly some truth to it. But, you know, I've heard this idea years back. And, you know, recently I was speaking to some people that enrolled. And they're like, listen, you know, I'm kind of like tight on money. But I'm going to do it anyway. It's a big risk, but I'm going to do it anyway because I need to be the type of client that I want to attract. And I'm like, okay, it's a good marketing tool. And I actually thought about it for a while. So let me put it this way. I do believe that there's some truth to it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a big marketing concept.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a huge marketing concept to get people at the fence. So it comes back to the idea that, yes, there are principles, but you got to think about it. You know, think about them. Like, you know, you got to find the sweet spot for you and how it applies specifically to your business. Because oftentimes I see people just hear a concept or a principle, they implement it, and they're freaking out like, why doesn't it work? Because they never thought about it for a second. Yeah. You know, like how it applies to my business, and can I implement 100% of that? or maybe just a portion.
Yeah,
So
love it.
to put it in steps, get proof of concept, leverage your low hanging fruit, make some money, 20, 50 grand. And then what you want to do is take that proof of concept, build a marketing machine, a funnel, and then you fill it up with ads. Because there's so many coaches I know that maybe in the beginning they made good money, 50, 70 grand a month, which by a lot of people, that's good money. But now they're broke. They're not making anything. And I, look at them hire coaches and stuff. And I invite you to consider that, yes, coaches are important, but allocate some money to your marketing systems, to sales, to finance, to these different things. Because business is not only hiring coaches. There's so many areas of the business. And one of the first ones that I believe everybody should master is consistent lead generation. If you're not consistently getting phone calls, you don't have a business. You have a dangerous hobby that can make you go broke.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, definitely agree with that. I like how you said the concept of, like, basically what you're saying there is start organically, get your momentum. Then once you've got your momentum, don't just go all in with that momentum. Take a little step back and go, right, cool. What's the strategic step now? And that is to put money into the machine.
And here's the thing, like with the concept of be the type of client you want to attract, or be the type of person that you want to be. And it's a misconception to a degree. Like, yes, I mostly believe in it. There's some truth to it. But what I saw it happen with me and a lot of my friends is I wanted to be a 7-figure coach.
Yep.
So I started spending money like a 7-figure coach. And the next thing I knew is I was broke.
Yeah,
I didn't have money for marketing and stuff like that. So you got to be very smart about it. Now I make a lot of money, but I retain a lot of that money because what if this happens? Just be more strategic about it. This is the same thing. You hear a concept, don't just run with it. Think about it a little bit.
Yeah, I love that, man. I think every single driven entrepreneur has experienced that, where they've created momentum, then their expenses have just went up with that momentum, and they've not been able to hold it. Then before you know it, it's like everything just disappears. Like, I've experienced that more than once, mate, and had to pull myself out of a hole as well. So I think that you've got to be very careful with the advice that you listen to. And I think the advice that you're given today is advice that someone can take away and actually go, now I can actually think for myself, rather than just buy into some concept and then just follow their heart and just follow that, not even their heart, follow that initial buzz that you get off it, and then everything sort of falls. So I love how authentic and congruent you are, mate, from your own sort of experiences, which is amazing. But let's just say, like, someone has got to that point right now, right? They've got to that point where they've got their bit of momentum, they've stood back, and they've strategically said to themselves, right, what do I want? Right, let's put some money into marketing, and let's keep some money away for me for a safe day. What would be the sort of basic funnel setup you would help someone put in place at that point?
It's a good question. I mean, each business is different. A lot of it depends on your niche, your unique selling proposition, your offer. Generally speaking, webinars are kind of like getting more and more expensive and oversaturated right now, especially in this market, because everybody and their two best friends is using it. And everybody knows it's automated. It's not really live. Show-up rates are down. If I look at my clientele or other people, it generally takes, several $100s to get an application, to get a phone call. And here's the thing. When I was sold the High Ticket Dream, I was told you get applications for $50. You get on the phone, you close 1 in 5. So you just spend and let's say you pay $50 per application, right? So you spend $250 and you just close the $5,000 deal. Whew. And it turns out that it's not that easy. Chances are you're going to pay way more for applications, like $200, $300. I know some people pay $1,000 per application. And then even when you get on the phone, there's going to be a good portion that doesn't show up. 20, 30, 40, 50%. Well, now what? Now you're in deep shit. And on top of that, what if you don't close at 20%? When I got my first coach, I asked him, okay, this is a new market for me. If I sign up, I'm not necessarily going to have an ad budget for Facebook ads. And on top of that, in this market, I don't have any social proof, testimonials, no PR. Is this going to work for me? And they're like, yeah, it's going to work for you. The sales guy just really wanted to sell. So I sign up. I do exactly what they tell me to do. I'm on my 30th phone call which cost me like $100 each. 30% people didn't show up. And I'm thinking, shit, it's been 30 phone calls. I'm supposed to be making, 5 figures a month, and I haven't gotten a single sale.
Yeah.
So once again, don't believe everything you hear out there. The thing with, this industry is if someone's, for example, teaching you this webinar funnel, right? They're not going to tell you the downside. They're going to say, and it's another entire story on its own. Matter of fact, they're supposed to sell you the dream. Otherwise, they'll never, like if my first coach told me all the downside, I would have never bought. So that's a different story on its own. But what I would recommend for a coach is a simple video. Everybody's doing webinars, so now you got a zig when they zag. Stand out, be remarkable. So I would recommend you create a simple video sales letter. So essentially in that, there's a specific format, like an introduction, giving value, call to action, and then you just send them to an application, a booking form, a thank you page. So this is what I've done. And this was born out of a need. I was trying the webinar for years, and I'm like, shit, this is not working. I was like, I'm not going to be able to afford to spend this much per application, so I had to find a different way. So I implemented this. I started paying like $100 per application, so it was much cheaper. And then I kept testing and dialing things in. And now, I'm paying anywhere from $20, $30 per application. It's quality. I got a sales team of 5 people. They're closing 20% like this. But the idea is like, it took a while to dial in.
Yeah.
And now, as much as I'm grateful that we're, almost getting a client a day, sometimes even more, it took a while to build this. And that's what a lot of people don't tell you, that it's a process.
Yeah, I love that, man. Even just to add to that, I completely relate to that, because back in 2015 was when I first really experienced a big, and it was getting sold into a high ticket webinar done for you funnel. It ended up putting me like in a 23 grand hole in 2015 that I had to pull myself out of. And that's a big lesson for me, because I was just basically sold the dream that I wasn't ready for. Like I didn't have any foundation in place at all, and it was just sold a dream. And yeah, this will work. You just run Facebook ads to the webinar, and then blah, you get $80 applications that were saying, all right, cool, let's do it. And then what? What just happened there?
Yeah.
So like just for people listening, like just be careful and make sure you've got your foundations in right first. So taking back to what Peter said, start organically, get yourself out there, get a name, like go out there and just build your foundations first before you start thinking about testing this kind of stuff, because to get the kind of results Peter's getting, it's taken him time and it's taken him burning money to get the data to then make it work. So yeah, like amazing advice, man. I really like how simple it is as well. And yeah, I just love how simple that is, man. Like really simple. So just to recap for people, lay your foundations, like get your case study, lay your foundations first, start organic, low hanging fruit, get out there, start getting momentum. Once you've got momentum, make a strategic decision and then look to implement your sales funnel with Facebook ads from then. Yeah, would that be the process you would sort of give someone there, a coach?
Yeah, pretty much. And even for Facebook ads, I would recommend a budget of like a few $1,000 at least, because some campaigns are just not going to make money. What's that?
A few thousand a month.
I mean, of course, the more you have, the better. But yeah, I would recommend at least $1,000, $2,000 a month to begin with. Start testing small, $25 a day, $50 a day. It's really going to be a process. I wish I could say, do this, and it's like going to be like that. Yeah. But it takes a while. It takes a while. So, of course, you can, get a mentor, get a coach to like help guide you through, critique your funnel, which is going to shortcut your success. It definitely works. But once again, be strategic. Maybe put aside a few $1,000 for a guide, a mentor, but leave also some money for lead generation, because that's the lifeblood of your business.
Yep, 100%. So one question that's popping to mind about Facebook ads is obviously if someone's maybe someone's tried Facebook ads that's listing, or maybe someone that's not tried it, either way, they've maybe tried it, had a bad experience, they've emotionally reacted and then they've been put off, or they've just not tried it yet before. Either way, either person is like a bit hesitant about doing it, because when you put money into something, let's just use the example, like you said, $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month might be a lot of money for someone in marketing. So when they put that money in to something they've never done before, Like from my experience, when I first done it, it was a big emotional reaction.
Mm.
So what would you say to someone? What would you say to someone to help them overcome that emotional reaction? Because it's going to happen. Like telling you right now, when you start this process, it's going to happen. You're going to go like this. One day you're going to be like, amazing. Next day you're going to be like, is this worth it? Turn them off. Just turn them off. Just turn them off. Next day you're going to be like, man, like, cool, I'm back. Next day you're like, fucking turn them off. They're not working.
Yeah.
So what
what
advice would you give someone that to help them like ease it? Because it's going to happen. What advice would you give someone to help them ease it? I think that's a good question.
Good question. You know, maybe a couple advices. Like number one, just understand that $1,000 or pounds or whatever in the big picture, it's peanuts. It's really nothing, right? And then the second thing is just like trust the process. You know, of course, maybe go through a course, maybe get a mentor or whatever, so you understand at least how it works.
Yeah.
Because the thing with Facebook ads, you know, there's the algorithm. You need to optimize it when you launch a campaign, give it 38, 72 hours. So one thing, for example, I see with a lot of newbies is they launch a campaign, they let it run for 2 hours, and they see, oh shit, I haven't got a lead. They shut it down. Yeah. And it was a potential winner. You know, it could have been a good campaign and even profitable, but they killed it. You know, and they do these. The biggest problem that I see with Facebook ads by far is that people make decisions based on drama rather than data.
Yeah.
You know, people don't take the time to know their numbers. I mean, it blows my mind. Sometimes I speak to people that make $400,000 a month, and I'm like, okay, what are your critical drivers, KPIs? What's your numbers? And they're like, oh shit, I don't know. I'm like, how the fuck did you build a business that's making 400 grand a month? You don't know your numbers. And that's an exception. That's very rare. Most people that don't know their number, they're dead broke.
Yeah.
You know, statistics say that only in 10 years, out of 100 businesses, only 4 will survive. And survive doesn't mean thrive. They're literally just surviving. You know, knowing your numbers is absolutely quintessential. You got to know specifically, okay, lifetime value, how much you're paying per application, all these good things, you know, and then just make decisions based on data.
Yeah.
And I get it. You know, the biggest thing is like, if you're spending money, right? And some of our clients spend, you know, $25 a day. Some of them spend, you know, $3,000 a day. If you're spending money, I get it. It can be frustrating to see the money go with nothing in return, but you got to give it time because it takes a while to build up the data. And based on that data, you can make a smart, educated decision on like, okay, what to do next.
Yeah, love it, man. So basically just breathe in and trust in the process and wait for the number, because you have to actually put the money in to get the data back. Otherwise you're never going to get it. So yeah, I love that, man. It's about being patient, right?
People have the wrong mentality. People think if I'm spending money on Facebook and it's not giving me anything in return, they're saying I'm burning money. No, you're buying data. And that data will tell you, okay, what works and what doesn't, and that's how you can adjust. That's how you can you know find your way to success. That's the only way.
Yeah,
you know?
Love it, man, love it. Like you've given people amazing value today, and the advice you've given is just absolutely top notch, mate. So like, thanks.
Thank you.
But there's one question left, and it's always the signature question. I always like to get different people's perceptions on things. Like I love hearing different minds. So like obviously this is called the Conscious Coach Show. So in your in your reality, in your little mind, what would you perceive a conscious coach is? If I was to say what's a conscious coach, what would you say that? What's the first thing that pops to mind, mate? Put you on the spot.
That's a good question. I mean, I would just say it's a coach who deliberately creates what he wants to create.
I love that, man. See that, like, mate, that was so good. I love it. Like, so love it. Like, because one of the ones that the way I like to explain it is when a coach becomes more conscious, they see more. So I use the analogy of the iceberg. So the water level just starts to go down and down and down. And they start to see more, and they start to feel more, and they start to understand more. And when they feel more and understand more and see more, what can they do for their clients? They can help them at a deeper level, which creates more transformation, which then creates more of a conscious world, which is what I believe we need in this world. There's more conscious people like yourself waking up at 11-year-old, 21-year-old, 30-year-old, 41-year-old, doesn't matter what age you are, just wake up, be conscious, and follow your heart and follow your dreams, because look what can happen if you do that. Like, here's a big example. You're setting a huge example for the world, mate. So, like, I take my hat off to you, man. You deserve all your success, mate. And thank you very much for being here. I can't wait to put this out. Such a good interview, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Last thing is, if people want to find you, mate, where's the best place to come and learn more about Peter?
Right. If you can just put my name into Google, Peter Szabo, it's Peter SEBO, or just my company, leadevo.com. So it's LEADEVO.com.
Sweet, man. I'll also, around this video, if you're listening to this on video or on audio, I'll put those links around there so it's easy for you guys to get to, and then you can look Peter up and see what's going on in Peter's world and get more value. So, Peter, thanks very much, mate, and we will catch up very soon.
All right. Talk soon.